I'm delighted to welcome today Michael Landau from Persistent Growth. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you for having me.
So, persistent growth, what's that all about?
Persistent growth. It all started with the beginning of the pandemic. I I was teaching movement. I'm a Feldenkreis practitioner, which may mean something to some people. Feldenkreis method is a method of mindful movement. You slow down, you take a look at small things, and it is very effective in improving the way you move, the way you use your body, and it is very holistic. So it has applications in different areas of life. And during the pandemic, I had to move online, and I thought, what can you do online? I could, and I did. Continue with the regular classes that are movement classes. You lie down usually, you listen to the instructions, so it works online. But I've started developing something that is more adequate for the online medium, which is a very short daily regular practice. And this seemed to be really effective. And the idea is to really reduce the time demand. Very good for people who were online and on camera the whole day, working from home. And so this is something that you can do at home. Nobody would come to my studio for a 3-minute session, right? But you can find on the busiest days, 3 minutes a day. And the idea was to make it regular. And it seems to be really effective. I called it persistent growth because it's about persistence. So you just make it regular. The investment is minimal. And I found out that in 3 minutes, something small shifts. You take 3 minutes to stop what you're doing, to really kind of turn your awareness inwards and look at the way you move and explore small things. The explorations are very concrete, and it's a different one each day. And the result was quite amazing for me because it is kind of an invented format. When you are persistent and you just do it regularly, take 3 minutes every day to make this tiny shift. It's not spectacular, it's not revolutionary, but it is persistent. And there is a process of growth. It is, you have to decide to look at yourself in action and want to improve. Most people don't do it, and they just go on with what they already have. And this is the way we normally function. We use the skills that we have learned in order to make a living, to have a family, to all of our daily interactions are based on things that we already know. In order to step onto a growth path, you have to make a decision and have an intention. And then, as I found out, you don't need a huge investment, just need to be regular with it. That's what persistent growth is all about.
Okay, excellent. So, you've mentioned 3 minutes. So, is this 3 minutes a day, 3 minutes in every hour? Well, when does the 3 minutes happen?
It's 3 minutes a day. I've created this series, endless. I'm still creating more. It is an ongoing practice. It is built as a membership. I have members who are with me for months, and they get a daily video of 3 minutes each day. It's a different one each day, and it's an exploration in movement. You use your awareness, you focus, you move usually slowly and just a little. So it's a fine, subtle exploration. And the idea is to create improvement in the way you use yourself and to improve the skill of awareness.
So I'm guessing posture, you know, how you hold yourself, your general deportment would improve with the persistent growth that you're talking about.
It would definitely improve what we tend to call posture, only the focus is on movement and not on something fixed. We tend to see posture as like, take a photo of the right way to hold yourself. It is very static. The approach of the Feldenkreis method, that is my main inspiration for this work, is all about finding options. So it's not about correcting the way you hold yourself. It is about what you can do from where you are and opening up more possibilities.
So what you've mentioned that you have many members already. So what type of people are they that come to you? I've not heard of this. It starts with Feldenkreis.
Feldenkreis.
Feldenkreis. Can you spell that for us?
Felden, as you hear it, Felden, Kreis, Krais. Feldenkreis is the name of the guy, the person who developed this method. It's been around for since the 1950s, 1960s, and it's gaining momentum.
Okay, you've mentioned consciousness and, you know, mindfulness and that time thing, you know, being mindfully aware. So what are the benefits? So somebody follows your 3 minutes movement. Would they feel any different? Would they see any difference? What does the persistent growth look like for them?
The very direct benefits have to do with movement, because we work with movement. So you notice over time that you move better, you breathe better, you have more mobility, less stiffness, less pain very often. But it really addresses the whole person. So people report strange things. Like a long-term client told me that she sleeps on her back now, and she hasn't done this for the last 40 years. A mystery. I don't teach people to sleep on their back, but something shifts in the way she uses herself. So it's quite global. You become calmer. You also practice mindfulness. So it's a mindful practice. You slow down. You take a look at small things. You have to focus. It's not mechanical. It is about the exploration of movement. So movement is actually the field for exploration, but it's not about the mechanics of movement. So the improvement is quite global and quite surprising sometimes.
Slowing down, I think, is something that we all need to do. The pace of life that we live in these days, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're expected to be all things to all people 24/7, and there just doesn't seem to be any let up. And there's a lot of mindfulness courses that have popped up. So this is a form of mindfulness that also affects the mobility, which is a great combination. The only experience I've had in this before is Tai Chi, and I was learning some years ago. I was learning Tai Chi, and that was very slow movement and so on, and mindfulness. But seeing your videos, so I've signed up for the introductory, and I've had two days now where I've received your videos, and even I can manage it. Even, you know, I don't have a very long attention span, so 3 minutes I can do, and I found it really quite calming, really quite nice. So I'm actually going to do my 3 minutes several times in the day when I remember, not just the 3 minutes a day. So thank you for the introduction. Feldenkreis, never heard of it before, and I've heard so many different modalities. What got you interested, Michael, into Feldenkreis in the first place?
I was a professional musician. I played the piano. I specialized as an accompanist, so I worked with singers. And while I was finishing my studies at the Vienna Conservatory, I started the Feldenkreis training. So I've had it as accompanying my musical career for almost 30 years now. I think it really allowed me to survive the career of a pianist, because many hours at the piano, I had bad back pain for a while, and as I started playing professionally, my first paid job, I was accompanying a 10-day singers retreat with a singing teacher, and I had to be there at the piano in the singing class of each of them, and then group rehearsals, and my back was killing me. So I came upon the Feldenkrais method by necessity, like most people. I was in pain. So it helped me with that. It helped me survive and thrive during my 30-year pianistic career, and it's become part of my life. I think my way of observing myself and observing reality and even relating to people is pretty much influenced by this persistent growth. It is a process that once you step into it, you're in a learning process, which is a choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any particular health conditions that would benefit from this particular system?
If you look up Feldenkrais on the internet, you'll find that the Feldenkrais practitioners specialize in pretty much every aspect of life. So it has therapeutical applications. It is very helpful with any kind of brain damage, because it finds alternative learning processes for people, sometimes babies with cerebral palsy, or people who had brain injury and have to relearn to move. Is very helpful with that. It is applied in the arts, in music, in dance, in sports, to improve performance and avoid injury. It's pretty much everywhere, and people specialize in different areas. My personal inclination is more towards the mindfulness practice of it. So really, I focus on how you work with your mind to observe yourself.
What are the benefits of being mindful?
Well, as you said, we all need it. We in our modern the environment that we've created in our civilization is unhealthy on so many levels. We live in constant stress. We always have a huge to-do list. I think this is quite generalized. So they just sit back and let your mind relax is something that we don't do. You have to really create special conditions in your life to be able to do this. And so there is a lot of mindful practice around that addresses this problem, and then we don't move enough. We're very sedentary. So there's a whole other field, and the two fields seem separate. You go to the gym, you find a trainer, you do exercise on one hand. On the other hand, you do mindfulness, you try to meditate. This is if you're really health inclined and trying to improve your life conditions. And these two areas are not really connected. And for me, this is one. The being mindful of my movement is it kind of addresses the whole thing. Slow down. It is a mind training. You train your ability to focus over longer periods of time, and just stay with it. Be in the here and now, which is what mindfulness is all about. And at the same time, be in movement, improve your mobility by observing the way you move. It is not, I mean, the whole mechanical treatment of movement, like exercise, do repetitions while you are thinking of something else, writing emails. I go to the gym now with my daughter, and you see people who are doing the reps while they're texting or listening to music. So it is as if the body was this machine that needs some maintenance. So we do it. It is an insult to our brain, really. So putting these two together and being in movement while being mindful, for me, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And how did you arrive at the 3 minutes? I understand the concept of, we're busy lives and 3 minutes is, nothing, but you actually can achieve something in 3 minutes if you're focused. But why 3 minutes?
I've been playing with the idea. I quit my musical career about a year before the pandemic. So I was in the process of understanding that for the first time in my life, I'm independent. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a business. I had Feldenkreis with me for 30 years, as I said. So I thought, I know how to teach it. I've been doing it all along. It's accompanied me. I can do that. What's the problem? I did. So when I became independent, and this was my main line of work, let's say, I found out that I had no idea how to manage my time. Among other things, I had no idea what it meant to have a business. So I went into this big learning process, part of which was creating habits, understanding how I organize my day, because as an employee, it is kind of done for you. I never had to think about it. And when I stopped being an employee, I started reading, organizing my time, my calendar, knowing when to stop, knowing when is work and when is not work, and kind of find some order in my life. And part of the habit creation process that I was developing was realizing that it must be very small. If I have these huge ambitions to do big things, it is just a recipe for failure. So I had to invent very small units of very clearly defined activities. So I played with this. I mean, part of my desire is to do Feldenkreis regularly. I have a bank of classes, recordings. There's a lot of material, and the classes are usually 40 minutes to an hour. So I just don't manage to fit it in, even though this is what I do. I should be doing a class every day. I don't, but I can do 3 minutes every day. So part of it was my own process of creating habits that are doable, and I tried it with clients. I thought of the idea, I offered it. I had my founder generation that did the first month with me, and they loved it. They loved the fact that it came to their inbox every day, and a reminder with a link. Here you go. You don't need any preparation. You do 3 minutes, and these are 3 minutes that you dedicate to yourself and to your well-being. And I found out that in 3 minutes, something changes. So you do, the movements are very specific. You look at something specific. So it can be anything, but it is very concrete. And when you look at it for 3 minutes and do some variations, something shifts, something small. This was my discovery. It could have been 2 minutes, maybe too little. 5 minutes may already be too much to ask as a daily habit. I don't know. It's not a magic number, but it works.
Yeah, brilliant. Can you give an example now of a 3-minute movement? Not necessarily, don't do the whole 3 minutes, but can you give us an example of a movement?
We can do a small movement. Okay. It doesn't have to be 3 minutes, but so you sit at the front of your chair. I don't see your chair, but so that you hold yourself upright. You don't lean back. Okay.
Yep. So already my back is different. My back feels different because I'm sitting on the front of the chair.
Yeah, when you have to hold yourself, you can notice how you do that. This is our play with gravity that we usually don't notice. Okay, so just take a look at that. How you hold yourself and how you breathe. And now lift an arm. You choose which. Just with a hand somewhere above your head. You don't need to extend it completely, but a little bit. And put it back down and do it a few times. You lift it and bring it back. And you can notice that your shoulder blade is moving. Shoulder blade is connected to the back of the shoulder. So it's sliding on the ribs. You can notice that. You can notice that the ribs open on the side that you lift. The ribs, like an accordion, they open on this one side. You can think of inhaling into this side, into these ribs that open, and exhale as you bring it down. Do it a few more times. Inhale into the side, you feel it expanding. Exhale as you bring it down. You may feel that your head tilts a little bit to the other side because your spine curves. So you help yourself lift the arm with a movement of the trunk. And put your arm down and just take a look at yourself again. And you may notice that there is a little bit of imbalance or asymmetry between this side. I feel the left lung a little larger after these few minutes because I've kind of opened it a few times.
Yeah.
So this was even less than 3 minutes. This is something that an example of what you could do in 3 minutes, and it makes a little bit of a change. You notice that something shifted.
I feel inclined to do the other side now because I feel it's actually opened my left side. I was raising my left arm for those people listening on podcast. I was raising my left arm, and when Michael said to stop, I could feel like my left side of my ribs were more open. So that showed my right side wasn't. So I'm just doing a few arm lifts on my right side now to balance me up whilst sitting on the edge of my chair, and I feel that's supporting my spine, and I have got spine issues, so I'm going to do that. Definitely do that more often. So thank you for that. You mentioned that you were a pianist, accompanist. Is that how you say it?
Accompanist.
Yeah, accompanist. So for 30 years, and you mentioned an employee. I didn't know there was such a thing as being an employed pianist. So how did that work?
I was a university teacher.
Ah.
I was a teacher at the Vienna Conservatory. I studied at the Vienna Conservatory. Then I worked there for 10 years as an accompanist, which is a teacher's position.
Ah,
The singers always have their repertoire with a piano. I was accompanying them, working on their repertoire, on their interpretation, and playing rehearsals, playing concerts. So, yeah, I was an
right.
employee at the Vienna Conservatory and then at the university here in Chile, in Valparaiso, accompanying instrumentalists. Here I accompanied mainly violinist, cellist, flutist, percussionists, all of these music students who play an instrument, usually a melodic instrument that plays accompanied either by an orchestra or by a piano. So I was the orchestra.
Yes. Oh, how
And
wonderful.
this is a person who the accompanist works with music students on the repertoire, and this is a regular thing. They need it.
Yeah, brilliant. So did you start doing classes while you were doing your music, or did this it came? No, actually, you explained, didn't you? You resigned and then you started this afterwards. You had a gap in
No,
between.
I became a Feldenkreis practitioner at about the same time when I finished my studies of music. So it's always been there. I gave classes to musician colleagues and students. It is very effective for musicians who tend to injure themselves doing a repetitive movement,
Yes.
playing many hours a day. So it's very helpful to prevent injury and improve performance. So I've been giving classes all along, kind of as a sidekick.
Fascinating. It's always lovely when I interview people for my podcast. I'm learning all the time, and quite often it's a reminder of stuff I already know. So it's so refreshing when I find something that's completely new, and this is completely new to me. So the concept of movement and mind, it obviously isn't new, but the simplicity of it and the name, the Feldenkreis is a new name to me. So thank you for the introduction, and I wish you well with everything that you're doing. It sounds as though you've got really organised, how you're doing it to help obviously yourself with your own business, but also with other people. How do people get hold of you, Michael?
So my homepage is persistent-growth.com. If you sign up, this is right there in the first page. You sign up to my list, you get the samples that you've been receiving. There are sessions from my regular membership. I just put a few samples. So you get 3 days of free sessions to get an idea of what it looks like. Yeah, I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, but through my homepage, persistent-growth.com.
Marvellous.
You'll
And
get
your name on Facebook, are you as your name, or are you Persistent Growth on Facebook?
I have a page that is called Persistent Growth also.
Marvellous. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today, Michael. It's been a pleasure learning about your work, and it's been lovely meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.